All right, the rat trick. So, if you're a Florida Panthers fan and you're not old enough to remember the rat trick, that's a shame. And if you're old enough to remember this run, you know why this feels kind of appropriate posting this as the Vegas Golden Knights get set to start the Stanley Cup Final on Monday. The rat trick was October 8th, 1995. Scott Mellanby, as a rat walked into the locker room, killed it with a stick. He scored 2 goals that night. John Van Beesbroek said it was a rat trick. 2 goals and a dead rat. The next time they played at home, they score a goal. 1 plastic rat fell on the ice. Somebody threw it out there. Eventually, it became crazy. By the time the playoffs rolled around, every time Florida scored a goal, a ton of plastic rats would hit the ice. Sometimes on the road, you'd see plastic rats getting thrown on the ice. It got to the point where the NHL said, now stop. And it got to the point where hockey fans said, okay, that's enough. We get the joke. And what it did was it killed their team's momentum. So it was exciting, it was fun, it was funny, and then the joke was over. It was done. And this was their 3rd year in the NHL and their first playoff appearance. So they had 2 years of aches and pains, growing pains, and then they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. So because of those 2 years they didn't make it, all hockey fans everywhere were happy to see Florida in the final. No. And in the finals that year, they met Colorado. Colorado in their first year in Denver. So, boy, I remember the mood among fans who weren't Colorado or Florida fans. It wasn't necessarily pleasant. A lot of the same conversations that you're seeing going on right now. Coach was Doug McLean. He's 41, 31, and 10. And if you look at why he's a big television personality, it's because he was a big coaching personality at the time. And I can understand that with the amount of sound bites he gave as a coach and as a manager later on, that definitely made him marketable as a guy you want to listen to on TV. That playoff run, well, it got more difficult as it went along. The first round they played Boston. And I remember thinking, awesome, Florida's first year, we got this. No, Boston didn't have it. They won that series. They won by scores of 6-2, 6-3, and a 4-2 to get a 3-0 series lead. Boston wins Game 4, 6-2. And Game 5, Florida finishes it off 4-3. So 5 games and done. Philly in the second round. They win 2-0 in Game 1. They lost Game 2 and 3, 3-2 and 3-1 combined. In Game 4, they won in overtime 4-3. Game 5, they won in double overtime 2-1. Game 6, they win 4-1. So Florida's off to the conference finals. And at this point, it's like, oh, well, now they get Pittsburgh. Well, this is where it's going to end. Nobody thought they'd beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was still strong enough in 96 that didn't look like they'd, we were going to see Pittsburgh and Colorado or Detroit in the finals. Colorado and Detroit were busy beating each other up. Pittsburgh. They win Game 1, 5-1. They lose Game 2, 3-2. They win Game 3, 5-2. They lost Game 4, 2-1, and Game 5, 3-0. So they were down 3 games to 2 going into Game 6. And already there was they had a good run. This was fun while it lasted. But now the clock struck midnight on Cinderella. Carriage is turned back into a pumpkin. You always hear when Cinderella going to turn into a pumpkin, and it's like Cinderella never turned into a pumpkin. Game 6, 4-3. They win that game. And then Game 7, they won it 3-1. And I remember doing a happy dance that I wasn't going to have to see Pittsburgh hold up a Stanley Cup again. And this is where Pittsburgh fans are like, it's always taking shots at us. I don't mean to. I'm just telling you guys as a hockey fan how I felt. I was mad after round 1 because they knocked out Boston, but I was happy they knocked out Philly and Pittsburgh. And I thought it was a nice story. Although I wanted the obnoxious rats on the ice to stop. Colorado. This was a mismatch. This series, the finals really reminded me, when I was watching it, of the 1982 Vancouver Canucks. I was having flashbacks. Colorado won all 4 games. They won 3-1. They won 8-1 in Game 2. Game 3, they won 3-2. And then mercilessly, Game 4 went to triple overtime scoreless. And I watched that game at a friend's house, and I thought, come on, just let Florida have one. Just let Florida win a game. Win this game in triple overtime, and we can all talk about how fun a run this was and how they really fought, and then No, I believe it was Uwe Krupp in triple overtime, and that was the end of it. So Colorado swept them, but honestly, it was one heck of a playoff run. And let's take a look. This was a team of grinders. Dave Lowry, 10 goals, 7 assists. Ray Shepard, 8 goals and 8 assists. Stu Barnes, 6 goals and 10 assists. Bill Lindsay, 5 goals and 5 assists. Scott Mellenby, 3 goals and 6 assists. Ed Jovanovski, a 1 goal, 8 assists. He'd be in Vancouver not long after this. Rob Niedermeyer, 5 goals and 3 assists. Tom Fitzgerald, 4 goals and 4 assists. Paul Laws, 2 goals and 6 assists. Jason Woolley, 2 goals and 6 assists. Woolley was very underrated for his time. Johan Garpenlov, 4 goals and 2 assists. And Robert Svela, 6 assists. John Van Beesbrook, you could argue he's Hall of Fame worthy based on Vezina here and there, and this performance. 12 and 10 in the playoffs that year, 2.25 goals against, and a .932 save percentage. They played a puck possession game. They limited the opposition's chances. They stifled teams that were more offensively gifted than they were. They rolled 4 lines. They had an excellent goaltender, and they also pounced on teams that took them for granted. It was their first run in the playoffs, and it went all the way to the finals, and then they met the hammer of the Colorado Avalanche, a team led by Patrick Waugh, Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, Hall of Famer. Yeah, lots of Hall of Fame talent on the Colorado Avalanche at that point, and Florida really didn't stand much of a chance. But why we thought they had a chance going in was that they'd beaten Boston, Philly, and Pittsburgh, who all had their own measure of star power at the time. So there you go. The Florida Panthers of 1996, today's finalists. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.